presentation mode. All right. Well, my brain is a bit full from all the presentations. I'll try and get through this. But I agreed to give a little overview of the concept of Orbit Lab and what we do. And Orbit stands for Open Research and Business-Driven Innovation through Technology. And I'm going to try and unpack what we mean by that and how it actually is kind of relatable to a lot of the talks we saw before. Namely, how can we get all of these technologies out in the hands of businesses and make it useful in the real world as well. So first, I'd like to introduce the team. Myself, I'm a professor and deputy head of department here in the new electrical and computer engineering department. And I'm also we call it lab commander, but I guess it's like head of lab. And then we have Lide, who's our community manager, Søren, who's our technical lab manager, and then Brian, Rune, and Henrik are working on a number of research and innovation projects that we are running and also helping around with a lot of stuff. And then lastly, we have Kasper and Matthias, who are our assistants. To try and explain what Orbit Lab is, maybe it's good to go to the mission. So what we do is we try to facilitate, inspire, and nurture the development of tech talent and entrepreneurial minds through a diverse community of highly driven students, startups, researchers, and industry experts. So it's kind of it's a melding pot of these different profiles and levels, I guess. And we do that by providing a platform for tech-centered co-creation, empowering students, researchers, startups, companies, and public sector to work creatively with digital technologies to build innovative solutions for a better tomorrow. So essentially, we want to make sure that everybody gets better at what they want to get better at, and that is the technology side of things. So everybody learns about these new technologies and what their potential are. And then we also want to create an environment where we work innovatively to try and create new solutions based on this. So we don't just work with technologies just for the sake of technology, but we actually want to solve real problems. And I think that's also highly related to a lot of the talks we saw today. So the research or technology focus in Orbit Lab is a bit broader because it kind of covers the whole department. So we work within software engineering, human-computer interaction, mobile and wearable computing, pervasive and ubiquitous systems, cyber-physical systems like here, Internet of Things, cloud computing, infrastructure, DevOps, new interaction paradigms such as virtual and augmented reality, and machine learning and AI. So we have a kind of a broad focus, but hopefully, as you'll see, it actually kind of comes together in this coherent community. So we say Orbit Lab is a tech and innovation hub. So it's actually a community of all of these different types of profiles that meet and interact around a lot of activities and projects. And a lot of these are anchored in a physical space. So we have a space at Katrinebjerg in the COT building, where we have a number of specialized labs and workspaces, open workspaces. So we have students and researchers who can come and work on their things whenever they want. And then we have a lot of also equipment and whatever you need for your projects. It also houses the Emerging Technologies Research Group. The heart and core of Orbit Lab is the community. So we launched in December 2017. So we're a bit more than 3 years old officially. We also had a bit of a beta period. And actually, as you can see, we've grown a lot over those years. I'm not going to play this video, but you're very welcome to try and see if you can grab that. Maybe somebody can, maybe Lida, you can dump the link for the video in the chat and people can have a look after if they're interested. That gives a much more vibrant kind of view of the activity. So we started pretty much from zero, and now we have, this will be, I guess, be our 70th kind of shared event, tech or entrepreneurship oriented event. We have grown the community. It's now more than 2,600 people, and we've had 2,800 people participating in a broad range of events and activities that I'll get back to. And also an important fact about what we try to do with Orbit Lab in this kind of getting out from behind the walls, as this kind of series has been called, is to open up. So we've had a lot of visitors from everything from schools to high schools, for like students who are considering to go into engineering, to companies or municipalities who are interested in exploring the potentials of these new digital technologies. Of course, we can't do all of this on our own, so we're very happy to have had some great partners along the way. We have these 12, we call them our founding partners, or founding fathers, if you will, who kind of believed in us before Orbit Lab was actually a thing. So we went around and pitched the concept, like, can we build this dynamic knowledge community embedded in the middle of the research and engineering that goes on at Aarhus University, and for all of us to share and come and have a great community to interact about all of these things. And this is a mix of big international companies, but also very strong locally anchored companies like Grundfos and Systematic and Trifork. So we've had a lot of benefit out of this collaboration so far. We also work with a lot of other companies, some big, some small, some upcoming. Some were small in the beginning. Now, recently, I think last week, Humio announced that they just got acquired for $400 million US dollars. So that was a software startup that was founded in Aarhus and has just grown because they realized how they could apply their deep technical knowledge to a problem that was pervasive in a lot of businesses, and then they made a great company out of that. So that kind of innovative mindset to have these people be part of our more academic-oriented community really helps us to think about creating value as well. And that's something we want to expose to both the students, but also to researchers, of course. Excuse me. We also work a lot with startups, like in the smaller scale, and SMBs. So we think it's super important, kind of aligned with the Hubcap mission, is to get all of this knowledge out into the SMB segment and become useful. And then, of course, we are very active in the ecosystem around startups, entrepreneurship and innovation, both within Aarhus University, but also in the region and nationally. As part of what we do, we also have a small incubation space where students can apply and they can sit and work on their tech startups. And we've had some great companies actually come out of this that kind of graduated. They grew, they went through the whole process, and now they're fully functional companies that have left the nest, so to speak. And one of the examples of this is Concebio, who recently left Orbit Lab. They were sitting in Orbit Lab for a couple of years, and they built a very scalable IoT platform for biological processes. So they're biochemical engineers. They have a lot of domain knowledge. They came to Orbit Lab. They learned a lot about digital technologies and the potentials of cloud computing and putting it together with embedded systems. And they built their own platform, and now they are running both research projects and industry projects. And I think it really highlights the potential of a lot of our students also to go, while they're students, to maybe start their companies or at least get experience in this entrepreneurial process, because it's a great learning process, and it really forces you to think about creating value with your technical skills. So part of making this community grow has been through a lot of events, and this is a lot of work, but it's also really great. And all of these events serve kind of different subsets of the community. So these are just some examples. So I'm just going to give you some glimpses into some of the kind of things that happens in the lab. Obviously, people can come and work on their projects, or they can come and just interact around. If we have a particular event that they want to be part of, we have a lot of equipment available that they can borrow if they need it. We have a lot of tech talks. So we have experts coming in from industry talking about not only the research side, but also what is the industry best practice for software development in large computing systems in the bank sector, for instance. We have a lot of workshops where people learn new technologies. We host hackathons, competitive programming events. So this Thursday, we will have the Google Hashcode event, which is a global competitive programming challenge where you can sign up with a team, and then you can come and work in Orbit Lab. Obviously, none of this is happening physically right now because of COVID, but we hope we can get back to this because we really miss having these events. So it's just a very diverse community of people from many different domains, ranging from healthcare to production to pretty much any sector. We have a lot of public sector municipalities coming in wanting to work with new technologies for elderly care, for instance. And another thing we really strive to do is to integrate this innovative kind of and new technologies into the education. So we do a lot of co-curricular and extracurricular activities that are directly linked to the courses, so that the students who have to go through a particular, if you're studying to become a software engineer, you might want to learn machine learning way before you actually get the machine learning course later in your education. So you can already get your hands dirty with some of these frameworks by participating in these events early on in your study. And that's a really good way to getting students involved in these both emerging digital technologies, but also research and innovation and entrepreneurship at an early stage in their study. So it's a lot of hard work, and of course also you got to remember to have fun. And I see some familiar faces here, previous presenters included. And you can see here an example is a highly spec'd digital beer pong table that some students made as a project. It probably has more sensors than the ship we heard about in the previous talk. So it can be fun as well. So it's about creating a good working atmosphere where people are willing to share. And then, of course, we also go outside the walls. So we also feel it's our mission as a university to go out and promote the knowledge and the technologies we work with. And we participate in hackathons. We go to, of course, conferences, but also events such as Girls Day in Science, things to promote getting more female engineering students that we think is very important. We can try to highlight the application of some of the knowledge you get in engineering to see that engineering is not just, sorry for saying it, boring math, which some believe, but it's actually a very creative field where you actually get to build things that go out in the real world and make a change. Right. And one of our marquee events that we kind of has evolved over time is the Orbies. So you know the Oscars. So this is the Orbies where we hand out prizes for the best projects that was done in a given semester. And this can be the best, most technically challenging project, or it can be the most innovative project. It can be for the best pitch. So students pitch their projects as a kind of a startup to get the more entrepreneurial mindset going. And it can also be the ones who've contributed most to the community by sharing their knowledge and helping others. So that's a large part of what we also try to create. And I think also a very important part is that we try to get people together from different fields and different levels. So we have everything from first-year students to master students and PhD students sometimes that actually can sit and work because they're all passionate about the same technologies. So if the students are really good, they get nominated and then they can win one of these prestigious Orbi statuettes. And one of the best parts is that we always get a very high-profile expert panel to come and judge this. So it's always people from industry or researchers who come in and give the students, they challenge the students, they give them really good feedback, and you can always feel this very high level of energy where students feel like, wow, I didn't even think this could be a real thing, but now I just realized, you know, I talked with this person and now I have all these ideas. So bridging bridging out to the external world, both the public sector and to industry is a great way for students to grow and to kind of find a sense of purpose in what they're doing. I think I'll stop here. I think I'm on time pretty much. So if you want to follow Orbit Lab, you can stay connected in one of our channels. If you want to, you'll get notified when we have events such as this that we're kind of co-hosting together with the department and Peter. And I think, yeah, I'll cut it short here. It's been a long day.